What's the creepiest thing that you've seen other families do that they accept as totally normal? Episode 3. My longtime friend growing up. She and her sister would walk around their house completely naked in front of their little brothers, dad and uncle. We were 15 at the time. I am told it is a little disconcerting at first, but people warm up to my very mixed family. Here's the background. Both of my parents had divorced parents that never spoke to each other and never wanted to be like that when they divorced. So we have large family get-togethers where all my siblings and all my step-siblings hang out with my mom, dad, stepdad, and stepmom. This includes international vacations, various birthday parties, and Valentine's Day. We just all get along, and we are from a small town. It's especially helpful because last year my stepmom was paralyzed from the chest down, and my mom helps take care of her. I unfortunately grew up in the creepy family. My mom was obsessed with Titanic to the point that almost every surface of the house was covered in something Titanic related. She would talk for hours about it, the movie, and how she was the reincarnation of a passenger to anyone who would listen. She cross-stitched Titanic things. She made those weird picture carpet things that were Titanic themed. My Heart Will Go On was basically repeated every day, every hour, every minute. She played Titanic video games, listened to music, saved pictures online, and talked to people online about Titanic. She once redid my entire grade 2 speech to be about the Titanic. Came into the class, handed me the new speech cards, and sat there listening to me say the speech she wrote. For my birthday, she got me a Titanic t-shirt and a clock. She hung up both, and I wasn't allowed to touch them. Christmas was these weird Titanic dinner plate things. She got a Titanic tattoo, but at one point, I was allowed the rare chance to have someone sleep overnight. I invited my friend, and he was immediately weirded out. So we hung out in my room, which was pretty much free of Titanic shit. When we were trying to sleep, my mom, who is mostly deaf, decided it would be a good idea to play My Heart Will Go On at like 2 a.m. loudly. You could feel Celine Dion's Banshee-like voice vibrating through the walls and the floor and into your skull. Normally, I just ignore it. It never crossed my mind as being weird. But my friend began asking me questions, and I stopped for a second. Wait, he's right. Why was this okay? I thought that we had no AC. It was summer. Hot, exhausted, and annoyed, I decided for once to confront my mother about this. I just asked it straight up. Why are you playing My Heart Will Go On in the middle of the night? My friend then got a front row seat to my mom pulling me to the ground by my ear and managing to scream over top the booming speakers about how she was the adult and how she makes the decisions in the house, and that as a kid, I have no right to ask for anything. I'd like to note that if you haven't heard a mostly or entirely deaf person scream, you just can't imagine how frightening it sounds. After that, my friend quickly stopped being my friend, and everyone made fun of me because my mom was scary. Unfortunately, I couldn't disagree. It opened my eyes. We were the weird ones. I was also grounded for a week. No toys, no going outside, no TV or radio, no books. Just sit in your room or sleep. The more I think about my past, the more I realize how fucked up it was. Whenever I visit my hometown, I meet old friends or adults I knew while growing up, and they always say, "Oh, we almost called children's aid." Don't almost call them. Just do it, please. As comical as this sounds, spending 7 straight days with literally nothing to do but listen to Titanic being played from the other room could probably be considered child abuse. In around 2018-2019, I, 25F, at the time was 18/19, was living in Nebraska, where I grew up. I lived in the largest city in NE, but it was still essentially surrounded by corn and wheat fields. The city was expanding, so rich folks started building huge houses with giant properties on the edge of town as things proceeded to grow. All that being said, I had a good friend whose parents' house was one of those big ones right on the blurring line between the fields and the city. My friends and I were constantly hanging out at his place because it was fun. They had tons of property to ride 4x4 seconds on, a hot tub, a huge living room for us to watch sports and have reality TV binge sessions, etc. Plus his parents were super cool, and we could drink out there as long as we stayed at the house. It was tons of fun, even though I am quite scared of the dark. So I would just not go outside after a certain time because there was little lighting and the nearest neighbor was about a mile away. I always felt a weird energy driving to from his place if it was late at night, but never had anything happen until one night the drive out there was a long winding, two-way road that had thick trees on both sides, and you passed one of the city's largest cemeteries on the way. Barely any lighting, of course, besides the street lamps every once in a while and very little traffic. It's all inherently a bit creepy, and I'll admit to having sped through this section of road many times to get through it as quickly as possible. This specific night was perfect spring weather, so I was driving with my windows down listening to music. And it was around 10 p.m. I was coming around one of the curves in the road when I had to essentially slam my brakes on. Right in front of me in the middle of the road, maybe 50 yards away, was what looked like a family. Again, picture a completely pitch black road with thick forest on both sides and only my headlights to show what's in front of me. This was a family of 3-4, a tall, slim woman, an average height-weight man, a child, short hair, but couldn't tell the gender based on the clothing and couldn't see their face, maybe around 8 years old, and the mother was pushing a fucking stroller. Their clothes looked normal, not tattered but not nice. They also were not carrying any kind of light source, meaning before I arrived behind them in my car, they had been walking in the pitch black. They were all facing away from me, walking completely silent in the middle of the street, the same direction I was heading. I had turned my music down to hear if they were speaking, had music playing, etc. They didn't. The hairs on my arms immediately stood up. I came to a stop in the road behind them, obviously, and just sat there for a moment to let them move. They seemed to be completely unaffected by me and didn't even turn their heads slightly, nor did they attempt to move out of my way. I literally thought I was going insane, or that I was dreaming. It was so surreal. Before I really had time to fully process and register what I was seeing and how truly strange it was, they all, at the same time, stopped walking and very slowly turned to face my car. This scared the absolute shit out of me. I honestly didn't even give myself enough time to look at their faces as they turned. I immediately threw my car in reverse and sent it backwards for probably a full 20 seconds before flipping a U-turn, nearly running myself off the road and booking it the other direction. The only thing I remember noticing is that the stroller looked to be completely empty. This was the part that sticks in my mind the most. I've never felt terror like that in my life. I checked my rearview mirror probably 1,000 times before getting to a main road and never saw a glimpse of them. In fact, I never saw a glimpse of them ever again. I tried asking my friend and his family about it, only to essentially feel like I was insane because of the way they looked at me. Every time I tell this story, I get one of 3 reactions. They immediately think I'm fucking cuckoo, think I'm lying, or have had something sort of similar happen to them. I really don't care if no one believes me, honestly. It was, and still is, the creepiest thing to ever happen to me. I think about it all the time. It was either some weird-ass family trying to scare the shit out of someone, a distraction for an attempted robbery, assault, etc., or it was something more sinister. I'm going to tell myself for probably the rest of my life that it was the first option in 5th grade. I spent the night with a friend. For one, they had chickens in their living room like regular house pets, but they were shitting all over the furniture and digging holes in the floor. When we went to bed, I told my friend I needed to pee first, and she said I couldn't because they weren't allowed to use the bathroom at night. It was only accessible through her parents' bedroom for some reason, which was past the chicken couch. I asked her if I could just tiptoe through, but she said it would be impossible. I'm pretty sure there was a rooster in there too, but this was 20 years ago now, so I might be wrong. So I asked her what they did if they had to pee at night. She said they just went in a bowl. I assumed they'd have a bedpan or something, but no. I waited as long as I could, and then I peed in a cereal bowl behind a sheet that was hung up in the corner. I assumed it was a fort her sister had built, but no. It was a piss fort, and I had no choice but to use it. I knocked over an old pee bowl and spilled it, so I might as well have pissed on the floor. My friend took my clothes and threw them off the landing onto a chandelier which nobody could reach. And my underwear was stuck in such a way that we couldn't get it down. So I just left without it. When she called and invited me to a birthday party, I said no. And my parents told me I was being incredibly rude and called her back and said yes for me but I refused to go. This girl's middle name was Anne. Not Anne, but Anne. She had a brother named Owen, not Owen, and her sister's name was Zoe, pronounced Zoe, not Zoe, TLDR. My friend's sofa doubled as a chicken coop, and she made me pee in a cereal bowl. I had a friend whose mom would slap her and pinch her on the butt, kiss her on the neck, do that sexy kiss up the arm thing, grab her butt, grab her by the hips, and openly talk about her breasts and how beautiful and sexy she was. And she would do this in front of all of us, her friends too. My friend found this annoying, but not in the mom's molesting me way. She found it annoying in the "oh gosh, mom's such a dork" way. If my friend told her to stop, then she either wouldn't or would get very offended about her daughter rejecting her love. We were all very uncomfortable with it, and I personally believe that her mom must have been doing this from early childhood in order for my friend not to have boundaries about it. It still kind of skeeves me out when I think about it. I once went to a friend's house when I was maybe 12 years old. First thing my friend told me was, "Don't say anything until we get to my room. My mom's boyfriend hates his TV time being interrupted." The guy was sitting on a couch in just his underwear. Didn't even look up from the TV. Later that night, about 11, I heard her mother screaming profanities at the boyfriend and heard a bang. The boyfriend yelled back and glass shattered. I called my dad to come pick me up. When I was about 10 or 12, I would visit this friend. Whenever he had to pee, he would just piss on his rug next to his bed, like over and over again. His mom knew he was doing it and didn't care. He would also put on his baby sister's diapers and piss in them. He would often ask me if I wanted a diaper or if I wanted to piss on his carpet. I was like, "No, that's okay, but thanks." I have an accidental, though close, relationship with an ultra-conservative, born-again family. The patriarch, from my grandparents' generation, was a charismatic pastor of 2 different churches. He died many years ago at a comparatively young age from an illness that we could never recall being named explicitly. His children, of which there are a few, and his wife show a propensity for hero worship that borders on deification. This is all pretty standard fare for the demo. Nothing to see here, yada, yada. As the years went by, little pieces of an uncomfortable family history trickled down to his grandchildren. Early on, it was the kind of stuff that sadly tends to occur in lots of families and churches. Overly heavy-handed discipline, which I think was probably flat abusive, but one can't really know because of the aforementioned blind worship of the man. First one son, then another, being molested by someone in a position of leadership in the church. It's all real gross, and it's all a real bummer, but it's kind of par for the course. As the years went on, though, these bits of information started fitting together like a puzzle. There started to form a big picture, so to speak. The wife, dogma aside, had left the man. The man died of AIDS. The man's preaching career was torpedoed. Not given up, because the man arranged for men to relations with teenage boys. Using the church as both cover and occasionally locale, this suddenly spins the childhood abuse into a whole different ugly sort of animal. Yeah? None of this was a secret, really. It was kept in the dark from the next generation, but their elders all knew. It made the papers when it happened. They still worshiped the man. Pictures in houses and places of prominence. Missives about how great and virtuous a man he was. That's the creepiest thing I've ever seen any group of people do, who weren't actively taking knives to nuts to hitch a ride on a comet. When I was younger, maybe 10 or so, I spent the night at a friend's house. His little brother comes in to hang out with us. The kid is like 6 to 7, sitting there in his underwear and maybe a shirt. I thought that was kind of weird, but whatever, he's a little kid. All of a sudden, he gets up to get a drink or a snack or something. And when he turns around, there is this giant dark brown color on the ass of his underwear. I'm like, what the fuck, Dad? My friend explains that his little brother doesn't wipe. He's definitely old enough that he should wipe his own ass. But no, the kid takes a shit, pulls his underwear and pants back on without wiping, goes about his day. And this family acts like it's totally normal. They were even fairly wealthy, lived in a nice big house. Edit. I'm adding a few more, another family. One time, I spent the night at a friend's house a few times. All of a sudden, his parents called my parents up and told my parents that they had a bottle of pills go missing. They thought I stole them. And they told my parents I wasn't allowed to come over anymore. I totally didn't steal them. I was probably like 7 to 8 years old and didn't really even know about drugs and getting high at the time. Somebody in that family was probably a pillhead and stole the pills and decided to blame it on me, yet another family. I dated this girl when I was 19. She was 18 and still in high school. She would come over to my house sometimes, or we would go do things, but I was never allowed to go to their house. None of her friends were. Both of her parents drove full-size vans. One time, her parents were going to be gone for a few hours, so she snuck me and another friend into her house. That place was piled high with all kinds of crap. Everything was stacked up to the ceiling of every room in the house. They were hoarders. Every hoarder has a thing that they hoard. This girl's parents hoarded couches. Their living room had 6 couches, if I remember right. They were stacked, one atop the other. 2 stacks, 3 couches each. The entire house, there was a tiny trail running through all the shit, and you could barely manage to get through each room, and you had to hold on to something to avoid falling in. Their house was full of so much crap. They ran out of room for crap. So they had a large porch. They wrapped it with a big blue tarp and filled it with crap too. Her parents also had 2 couches in each van. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss daily stories. Are you familiar with families like this? Write in the comments. See you in the next videos. Bye.